They can both do magic. Nadal and Federer, two giants of the game, and names to conjure with in the magic box. Rafael Nadal versus Roger Federer, the final of the Madrid Open, live from the Spanish capital. Well, Rafa broke Roger's heart at Wimbledon and reduced him to tears in Australia in their last two meetings. What will unfold today in Madrid? From a neutral perspective, let's hope it's something akin to yesterday's extraordinary battle between Nadal and Novak Djokovic, which has been described by some as the greatest three-set match in the history of the sport. The burning question, of course, is what's left in the tank of the world number one after that 4-hour and 3-minute epic, which included 3 match points for the Serbinator.
Unrelenting, he will not budge, he will not bow.
Well, we're witnessing something a little bit special here. I mean, you have to feel for Djokovic. He did everything right in this point, but he's playing a hero. He's playing the king.
Oh, yes, he can save it. You won't see bigger heart from either man than that.
Out. Well, not for the first time on match point. It's been a matter of inches for Djokovic.
Remarkable, Rafa. What more can you say? Absolute delight on one side of the net, absolute devastation on the other. Your heart goes out to Djokovic.
The little boy, by the way, is thought to be Rafa's cousin, Uncle Tony's son, sharing in a very, very special moment. But your heart did have to go out to Novak Djokovic. He gave everything and ultimately got nothing. Well, Greg Rosetsky and Peter Fleming provide our team for the final today. Is that the best three-set match you've ever seen, Greg?
It is one of the best matches I've ever seen. I mean, you never knew whether Rafa was going to win it. All of a sudden, he turned it around the second set, and then Djokovic raised his level in the third, and then all of a sudden, Nadal found a way to save those 3 match points. It was a tremendous match.
Yeah, the sustained nature of it, Peter, just was quite extraordinary, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think you have to take your hat off to Djokovic because when Nadal came back, and Nadal was off color, certainly for a set and a bit, when he elevated, it would have been real easy for Djokovic just to kind of, whoa, be blown away, and he went with him, and you know, for sustained brilliance, that third set was right up there with anything I've seen.
Well, in complete contrast to that, of course, Roger Federer breezed through against Juan Martín del Potro in less than an hour and a half. And afterwards, he had this to say about today.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't played since the Australian Open, and, you know, I'm always excited to be playing against him. Sure, on clay, he's beating me badly many times, you know. I think he's got a good record against me, like 11-1 or something. But I got him once, you know, and I had a few match points in Rome, so I got to believe I have my chance. But I'm sure the underdog this time around. He's been playing so well the last few years on clay, and again, he's having the best clay court season of his life, you know, so far. So it's going to be hard, but I thought Djokovic played him really well today. It was a fantastic match to watch, you know. And I'm sure Rafa's going to come out very strong, the usual Rafa we know on clay.
Well, yeah, just a final brief point. Do you think he will, or do you think he's inevitably going to be a little drained after 4 hours and 2 minutes on court today?
The press always likes to talk about that, and then I end up losing in 5 sets in Australia. So this was a best-of-3 match. I know it took a long time, but these two guys take their time between points as well. But it was a nice match, and I'm sure Rafa's going to be very strong again tomorrow.
Keen to reinforce his position as the underdog, and that is the key question. What is left for Rafa? What do you expect from Rafa today, Greg?
Well, I expect him to be able to manage it physically. I mean, he surprises every time. Roger referred to the match in the Australian Open, which he lost in 5 sets. Nadal had the most difficult match ever, beating Verdasco in 5 tough sets, had a day off, came back and beat Roger in 5. So this guy is superhuman. I've never seen a player in my life like Nadal who can bounce back so quickly. But this is a great opportunity for Roger Federer. This is one where Federer has to win this match to really prove he can stay with Nadal now.
Yeah, well, Bev from Essex has written in and says, even with the supposed injury, I fear the final will be one-sided in favour of Rafa. He could probably do it on one leg, the injured one. Has there ever been such dogged determination and tenacity shown by a tennis player? Truly an incredible freak of nature, and that just about sums the man up. Are you expecting more of the same from the world number one today?
I'm not sure. I think he gave a lot yesterday. I mean, he was hurting that. Okay, I don't think it was an injury per se. I think it was a tight muscle, but you know, he pushed it. He pushed it to the limit, and I think he's going to be very stiff today. And if you know, I think this match though comes down to Federer. Really, if Federer can relax and play the sort of clay court tennis that he's capable of, then I think he's going to win. You know, if he goes through that routine that he put in Australia and in a couple of other matches this year, where he starts trying to hit winners on the first ball every point, then he'll struggle, I think. But if he can, you know, he looked against Del Potro like he was coming into form a bit.
But the other thing is, playing Del Potro, he's comfortable. He knows he's going to beat that guy every time. Del Potro doesn't have the movement of Nadal. But for Federer, the thing that he has, which is so strong, is he's got a good serve. He's also got the altitude, which will definitely help him today. So Federer, this is a wonderful opportunity. As we see him walking onto court, he looks very focused and concentrated. And also, this surface is very slippery, which is going to help Federer because it'll be a little bit tougher for Nadal to move on. And if he's that bit tireder, it might actually help Roger today.
Let's listen to this reception. Well, at the end yesterday, I've never heard anything like it. Maybe a Davis Cup tie accepted. The chance of Rafa after he finally closed out that match. It did a World Cup football final.
Yeah,
right.
I think they deified the king yesterday. He was in everybody's consciousness.
25 seconds. Television changeovers. Please try to sit down.
Lars Graf is the man in charge.
And after the toss, they want a picture. First the 3 of us, and then on you 2. Any questions?
Roger touched on the point regarding the amount of time taken between points yesterday. Djokovic and Nadal said they both take a long time. We had a lot of texts and emails about this, quotes, abuse of the 25-second rule.
I don't think the officials are actually going to change that. I think Federer is hoping that he will call him on time penalties. But in Spain, it's not going to happen, and Rafa's going to be allowed to take as much time as he wants. Federer hopes that he can push Nadal into a little bit less time to basically make him a little bit more tired. But I don't think it's going to happen today where they're going to call him on it.
It would be a very brave move from Lars Graf if he was to do something about it today, that's for sure.
Yeah, I suppose it would. I do think that the tour itself, rather than any umpire, the tour itself needs to make a decision. Does this rule exist? You know, because if we're not going to call it, then might as well not even have it. But you know, I think that Greg's probably right. They're not going to start today.
Not unless they really want to stir things up. It is another beautiful day, as you can see, in Madrid. They haven't had to use the roof, and I'm sure the organisers are pleased, but they'd love to have shown it off. It takes just 12 minutes to close it. Of course, this is a brand new complex, and they have 3 courts that can all be covered if necessary, but we've barely seen a cloud over the past week, so perhaps all that money is going to be unnecessarily spent.
Well, unnecessarily spent, but you've got to think, for a first year having this event, it's just been run tremendously, as we can see Rafael and Nadal's record there, which is so impressive. At 22 to have 36 titles already, to already have won 5 events, and his prize money is exceptional, and that's why this guy's world number 1. And he looks pretty fresh out there, I have to say, after playing 4 hours and 2 minutes yesterday. So I think he's really up for this match, and that'll be the question. Can he physically do it today? Because if he can, I think he will win today. But the last time Federer beat him, it was a similar situation where Nadal was tired. He beat him in Hamburg. Nadal won the first set 6-2. Federer won the second 6-2 and then won 6-11. Nadal just ran out of gas. But it wasn't Hamburg. It wasn't in Madrid with the whole stadium being behind him. And as he said in the beginning of this week, the key for him is having the crowd behind him and the stadium lift him. Because he said, I really wasn't playing that well this week. And not playing well, he produced one of the best matches we've seen in the history of the sport in the semi. So hopefully he plays a little bit better today.
Yeah, Peter, we wondered yesterday if he was being sincere when he said, I really will need the backing of the crowd. And by the end, we knew that he meant it.
Well, yeah, maybe he knew something. Well, he obviously knew something we didn't know, because he came out and played pretty poorly in the first set, and he was struggling. And it must be said, the crowd did sort of bring him back. I mean, it almost wouldn't allow him to roll over, as perhaps he has once or twice in the past when his schedule has just been too much for him. Interesting to see if they can do it 2 days in a row. And if he is feeling fit and sharp, then this guy is just from another planet.
Well, this guy comes from somewhere pretty special as well. An email from Matt in Derby says, is it me, or is Federer suddenly looking much sharper? Do you sense he's peaking just in time for the French?
I don't know. I think today's performance will be a true tale for us. I mean, the match he had against Roddick this week, he struggled a little bit. He ended up winning it in 3, should have won it in straight sets. So today will be the test to see where he really is going into the French Open and how sharp he is. Because this year, he's had these patches where he's lost concentration for games, and when it's really mattered in that top 4 domain we talk about all the time, he hasn't been able to lift. So today is a wonderful opportunity for him to say, okay, maybe I'm back in that top 4, being able to beat these guys again today. So if he can do that today, it would be a massive step forward.
In fact, this is a real watershed match, I think, for Federer, because up until yesterday, you could make a real strong argument for calling him number 4 in the world over the last 10 months. And you know, if his results don't improve on, say, the results of the last 4 months, he will be number 4 after Wimbledon, no question about that. Today is almost his chance to restake his claim inside the top 2, to say, you know what, I've drifted a little bit, but I'm back, and I'm planning to reach the finals at least in Paris, at Wimbledon, you know, win Halle for the 19th time in a row or whatever, and remain at least number 2.
But the other thing is, I think Federer always gets such a hard time because of the standards he's set for himself. I mean, most players in their career, if they had a year like Federer had last year, or even this year, they'd be thinking, what a fantastic year. But unfortunately, he's fighting the record books all the time, and he's allowed to have a little blip. And I agree with Peter that this could be a massively defining moment at the moment.
Nadal with the 13-6 head-to-head advantage, and it's 9-1 on clay. Just that one success that the boys mentioned in Hamburg when Rafa was exhausted a couple of years ago. And you were talking about Federer's tactics, Peter, the fact that yesterday maybe he was a little less gung-ho at times, just seems to be reining things in a bit, which you were certainly giving the thumbs up to.
I think so. I mean, I think he really did get worried that his game didn't fit into Rafa's, and thought that he needed to hit over his backhand much more than he always used to slice his backhand against everybody. And then he realized, okay, this isn't working against Rafa. I need to hit over it. And his topspin backhand is now excellent.
Thank you.
But I think sometimes he uses it just a little too much. He tries to pull the trigger a little too soon on the forehand, and almost got away from the thing that made him such a dominant player, his great athletic ability. You know, he can rally with Rafa if he so chooses, but and I think he needs to get back to that a little bit, not all the time, but find a happy medium.
Also, I'd like to add on to that, I'd like to see him sometimes come in at the right ball, because sometimes his selection to come forward isn't the best. And I was really hoping in the beginning of the year he'd have a new coach like Darren Cahill that was talked about early on to help him make that transition forward, to make that part of his game a little bit better, because he needs that little extra dimension against Nadal, because physically Nadal is slightly a level ahead of Federer in that physical department, and that's probably why he's been forcing it the last little while, and he's lost so much confidence. That Australian Open match, which they showed briefly before, was heartbreaking for him, because that was to tie Sampras's record as well. There's no way Nadal should have won that match, but he did.
Briefly then, what's going to happen, Greg?
If Nadal's fresh, I'd take Nadal, but Federer, I'd like to see him
what's
win.
this if stuff? Who's going to win?
I'm going to take Nadal. I think he looks fresh in the warm-up, but I'd love to see Federer win. That would be my personal choice.
Yeah, I'm going with my heart. I think Federer just might do it.
Good split opinions in the studio. Settle back and enjoy. Up in the commentary box today, it's Barry Cowan and Mark Petchey.
Thanks, Marcus. Well, these two players may be used to this moment, getting that kaleidoscopic glimpse of a finals crowd, that special moment as they came onto court. And the fans applauding them, but also, I think, taking the opportunity to acknowledge just how great these two champions have been. Two champions that have really embraced Arthur Ashe's sentiments that said champions are people who want to leave their sport better off than when they arrived. And there is no question that both of these two have catapulted tennis really back into the headlines. Very functional it was, this event at the start of the week. Lenny Kravitz actually opened it on the 7th of May, but it was Rafa and Novak who breathed life into the stadium yesterday. Barry, you've heard what Greg and Peter have been saying in the studio. Your sentiments?
Well, Rafa, no doubt for me, is the favourite. And for Federer, if he is going to beat Rafa, I just don't believe if it gets to 5-all or 6-all, given their past history, and you cannot discount that, that's going to play into Nadal's favour. So Federer's going to have to start well. I feel the first 4 or 5 games crucial for Federer to get a breaker serve.
Nadal to start off the 20th encounter between these two. Early impressions are that Nadal is looking pretty fit. doesn't look too weary right now. Struggled with his form throughout this tournament, but it's a measure of the man that he produced his best tennis in those closing exchanges, and that would be my worry for Federer coming into this final.
Yeah, for a set and a half he was very ordinary. Anything but ordinary at the end. Yeah, Mark, a lot has been said about the physical fitness of Nadal after that match of 4 hours, but a year ago, Nadal, when they played in the final of Hamburg, was looking like he was ready to retire against Federer in the opening set. Federer was up 5-1, still Nadal won that match.
That's a great play by Federer. At times criticism thrown in his direction. He doesn't do that enough against Nadal.
Well, he started doing it, didn't he, in the opening service game of Nadal at the Australian Open, and then didn't do it for another 2 and a bit sets.
Very measured serve there from Nadal. He wasn't going to give Federer another look at a second serve. A great start then for the world number one.
First game.
Low-profile tyres, sir. Hand-stitched leather interior, sir. A steering wheel.
I'll take it.
Oh. Oh.
You could become a millionaire with Monopoly Scratch Card from the National Lottery.
We killed him, and now he's gonna kill us.
Hi, you.
Hi, how'd it go?
Yeah, it went well. I'm on my way back now, so I'll tell you about it when I get home.
Okay, well the kids are in bed and dinner's on. James? James? Can you hear me?
You don't have to be in a car to cause a crash. Think. The moment you know they're driving, kill the conversation.
They served better this week. High percentage of first serves in yesterday against Del Potro, mid-60s.
He talked about it at the beginning of the week, didn't he? He felt as though he was starting to serve better again. Talked about it in his interview after the match with Marcus, talking about the versatility he feels he's rediscovered on his serve. Well, an early look from Nadal at his passing shots.
Well, great play from Federer, but just too good from Rafa. And will that play hurt Federer further down the line in this match? And there's nothing really he could have done more on that approach.
Got his tactics spot on yesterday against Del Potro. Incorporated a lot of drop shots.
A lot of people talk weakness for Federer against Nadal is the backhand, but I really believe it's the forehand. Federer needs to hit that shot well to feel he is actually a way through Nadal.
Given the passing shot that Nadal's already hit in this game, you can understand why Federer was trying to take it right to the line. And already a couple of wayward forehands, giving Nadal a chance to break.
We've seen him already, Mark, serve and volley on the first serve. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him serve and volley second serve a few times, given how high that kicked up.
So Federer holds on, courtesy of a couple of misjudged returns from Nadal. It's been a bit of a feature of his play over the course of this week. The altitude here in Madrid has definitely affected his play somewhat. We're at about 2,200 feet. It's a very simple matchup for Nadal, isn't it? He knows exactly what he wants to do, how he's going to win his points. For Federer, it's a lot more complicated. Whether to slice the backhand, whether to hit it. That's magnificent movement once again from Nadal.
Well, he was half a step slow. The first set and a half yesterday against Djokovic. No such thing in the final here against Federer. I'm always amazed, given the extreme grip he has on the forehand, how easily he copes with that low ball. Racket head speed, it's phenomenal.
Penned in the backhand corner. Nadal's had a couple of strong service games early on in the final. And he sits down. 2-1 in front. As I said at the start of the match, the 20th meeting between these two. It's the 16th in a final now. Nadal leading that particular head-to-head 11-4. And level now with some of the other great rivalries in finals. Agassi, Sampras with 16, Becker and Edberg with 16. Connors and McEnroe met on 15 occasions, but these two heading towards top place, and that are still held by Ivan Lendl and John McEnroe. Those two met 20 times in finals in the Open era. Tremendous hitting from Federer.
But he worked the point beautifully. The off forehand. And then this is the shot. That's the beautiful shape to the ball, not trying to hit the ball too flat.
Second ace. Beautifully executed. He couldn't have asked for much more.
Well, coming into this match, for Federer to win, he had to serve well. Well, he's 70% plus. First two service games, he had to hit his forehand. In the main, he has hit it very well.
seeing a lot of variety from the world number 2. But thwarted once again from Nadal.
Well, sometimes you can have the best tactics, but when you're up against Nadal on this surface, sometimes you just have to say too good. Second time already he's come up with a brilliant passing shot. The test for Federer is, if he gets to 4 or 5 all, will he still have the confidence to come forward? And it's much harder for Nadal to execute on the pass at that stage than it is at 2 all.
And already we're seeing that not just one tactic's going to win the day for Federer. He's got to implement so many different ways to win. And that second serve there, really getting you outside the doubles line. Tough for him to hit his forehand from there. It's the best he struck the ball at the start of the match. For my money, Nadal. Another forehand winner, another love hold for Nadal. He's won 10 straight points on serve. And he leads 5-3-2. Oh, what a get! I'm not sure how much he knew about what he was trying to do once he laid a racket on this.
Well, one thing's for sure, Mark. It wouldn't have gone over if it was us.
Truly magnificent forehand.
That's something for Nadal to think about. Very quick with his footwork there, Federer.
Well, I guess he decided not to give him another look at one of those balls, taking matters into his own hands. Peg back here, Federer. Just picking up a little bit, making things easy for him.
And playing at altitude helps Federer, that serve.
first double, but if there is such a thing, that was a good double fault. He was of a positive mindset. Federer missing that forehand and getting himself in trouble once again on his serve. Saved one break point already. What an approach shot.
And that's why Federer makes errors on the forehand. You have to go to the lines, because if he hadn't gone to the line, Nadal, he nearly made that one. Always under pressure. So far, this has been a great start for Federer. He has come out with a game plan, and he's stuck to it with belief. Can that last?
Well, he's one of the few players out there, doesn't he, that has the imagination to see himself actually winning this match and the championship. I think a lot of players, when they step on a court with Nadal on a clay court, just think it's not going to be my day. But Federer made a tougher stuff, and also in the knowledge that he has beaten him once before on this surface. Rowe, who's been here already this week.
Lost the championship over the weekend, La Liga, to Barcelona.
Barry, you made the point to me at the changeover that this may be the first time in these previous 19 meetings that actually Nadal is serving first in the match.
Yeah, I can't remember when it was, but Federer joked about it, saying, you know, there's no point having a coin toss. Because if I win the spin, I always serve first, and if Rafa wins the spin, he always returns first. So that's clever thinking from Federer.
Well, he has that assiduous nature, doesn't he, Nadal, and those superstitions. So maybe that's just one way of trying to get in his head. Urging himself on after another classic forehand.
Yeah, looking to beat Nadal with spin as opposed to power.
Spectators making a little bit of noise. They know how to do that in Madrid, second noisiest city in the world. Well, it was a good setup play, wasn't it, from Federer with the backhand return, but it's all about execution on that forehand side. Federer almost hasn't hit the same shot twice in a row, has he? He's constantly having to do something different. One thing that remains the same, though, is both players are hanging on to their serve. 7 games gone, 4-3 Nadal. It's always been his favourite surface. Hasn't been that way for Federer, to be fair, when he turned pro back in 1998. He really struggled with clay early on. In fact, lost his first 11 professional matches on this surface before getting a win over Wayne Arthurs of Australia at the French Open. And since then, it hasn't been clay that's been his problem. It's been this man. See how much that wind is picking up. And I say making it awkward for Federer. I'm sure there's lots of you sitting back there saying, well, it's the same for Nadal, but Nadal hits the ball completely differently. He plays with a lot higher margin for error, and Federer has to go for the lines like that. Third ace.
That's a good serve from Federer. He's looked to use the one out wide to Nadal's backhand. And time going down the middle.
Lots to admire in the first 8 games between these two. It's not necessarily become a classic just yet, but a very thoughtful match from Federer. But neither man now can afford any slip-ups on serve.
There's a couple of edgy serves yesterday from Nadal. A double fault to lose his opening service game. double fault at 5-6 in the third, 50 in all.
Was he right or wrong?
You have to say he's right. That's the shot that's won him 13 majors. At love 30, 4 all, he believes he's going to make it.
Are the players, though, giving him a little too much respect in those periods in the match where he's not necessarily playing his best?
Yeah, I think you've got a point, Petch, but I also feel that Federer's come out with a clear game plan to be aggressive on important points, and that's probably not the time to start questioning himself. It's the balance, isn't it?
He's made it.
Well, usually it's Nadal peppering Federer's backer. This time, roles reversed.
And he reaped the benefit there of going into Nadal's forehand with some shots earlier on. There was space for him to hit that winner. And he's got a chance here to put a little bit of space between himself and Nadal. And it's a break for Federer. So Nadal in trouble in this final. Delight for Federer's camp. And the world number 2 will have an opportunity to serve for the set. So Federer taking his chances in this opening set. When it presented itself, some wonderful tennis from him. A nice blend, a nice mix, and Nadal, for once, offering up the error on the break point. It's almost 40 minutes gone. Federer serving for a 1-set lead. It's not been a problem for Federer in the past, creating opportunities to break. Had 19 of them in that classic final in Australia. Only took them on 6 occasions, but it has been his problem against Nadal. What a serve.
Tony Nadal, gracious as ever, and it's been a fantastic set of tennis so far tactically for Federer.
Visible signs of the frustration that Nadal's feeling. Could not have played a better set. Couldn't have served it out in more impressive fashion as well. Federer, 6-4. So a time for reflection for Roger Federer and all the things that he did so well in that first set. Can he maintain his level, or can Rafa respond? Going back to that point I made about break points and creating those chances. I mean, at Wimbledon last year, Federer took 1 chance out of 13. And the French Open back in 07, he took 1 break point out of 17. Sampras's record could have been broken had he done a little bit better.
Australia, it was 4-all in the third. And Nadal was looking like he was really struggling physically. Federer had love 40 and just didn't do enough on all 3 of those break points. And that, for me, has been the big change-up today, that Federer, whatever he has done, he's done it with conviction. He's made 15 unforced errors, but 14 winners, and that's always the crucial one when you play Nadal.
The great left-handed Spanish player we saw briefly, Fernando Verdasco. Bar Nadal, who he's lost to on 13 occasions, Federer actually has a pretty good record against southpaws, doesn't he? He's won 63 in his career. He's lost 23, but as I say, take Nadal out of the equation and that's a healthy ratio for Federer. It is the uniqueness of this man that makes him so troublesome. They've done a test on the racket head speed that they both get through the ball on their forehands, and Nadal's is even quicker than Federer's. It gives him that ability to impart so much spin on the ball and keep it in play. And he doesn't need the crowd to will him on. He does a good job of that himself, but they're certainly trying their best. Federer aiming to keep them quiet.
He has missed a few returns, but I think a lot of that is due to the fact that Nadal's unsure what Federer's going to do. Is he going to serve and volley? Is he going to stay back? He's taken him out of his rhythm.
And it's a willingness to explore all your options, isn't it? And that's what we've seen from Federer today. He came in there with conviction. He didn't necessarily like his chances, but he believed it was the right thing to do. Down love 40, up love 40, doesn't matter to Nadal. Plays the same every single time. Incredible ability to apply himself at every single point. Off the line. That's the sort of point that will give Federer a lot of heart that he can win it.
It's scary play for Federer to be able to defend like this, under pressure on the backhand side, and to go down the line. In many ways, you probably feel he deserves a little bit of luck.
Been a while since he's won a title. We're back to Basel in the autumn of last year. The first time since 2001 that Federer hasn't won a title in the first 4 months of the year. That's the type of outcome that Nadal expects from that particular passage of play. Couple of love holds for Nadal at the start of this second set, and that's 4 in total for this match, but he still finds himself trailing by a set. Been getting lots of cutaways of the majority of the Real Madrid football team. All eyes though on this man now. What can he do to break the spell that Federer currently has over him in the magic box? Just looking for that spark, that moment of inspiration. Very impressive on serve today.
Yeah, exactly right, Petch. First and second serve, and when you're winning 67 points on your second serve, you know you're doing the right things.
Want to check it?
Third double. He would have to go and do that then, wouldn't he? If he ends up losing his serve, he won't like to be reminded of that when he comes off court and watches a rerun of this. It looks as though the second serve got a piece of the line, but we have to say that that isn't necessarily 100% accurate. Perfect volley and perfect symmetry at the start of the second set. Nadal's won both his service games to love, and Federer's won them to 30.
And as Darren Cahill said repeatedly when I listened to his commentary during the Australian Open, that for Federer to beat Nadal when he comes forward, he needs to use that short volley. And they did have that spell, didn't they, where they worked together for a week or two.
It's not easy to wrestle control of the point away against Nadal as often as Federer's managed to do.
How good was that backhand? Open stance, down the line. And there were signs when he played Djokovic in Rome that the forehand was starting to click into gear. It was perfect for a set and a half. It's been great so far today.
Almost improvised in time. That one was a little lower than he expected.
But Nadal will still believe, you know, the fact that they're head-to-head, that Federer hasn't necessarily played his best tennis under the biggest of pressures against Nadal.
Another formidable forehand from Federer. Once again, punching a hole right through Nadal's defences. It doesn't get any better than that. right from the return to the final drop shot. Perfection.
Well, the first time he's used this in the match, and what a time to do it. Totally catching Nadal by surprise.
What a moment this is for Federer. Right on the hour. It is out. It was close, but not close enough for Nadal, and he finds himself down a set and a break. So Federer breaking Nadal for a second time in the match. The Spaniard had only been broken 4 times in the entire tournament coming into this final. Federer himself has only been broken twice. He's just 3 games away, 3 service games away from what will be a very memorable victory if he were to achieve it. Not just the victory itself, but the manner in which he's gone about it. He's won in Madrid before, back in 2006, but he's looking to win this tournament in the new venue for the very first time, to be its first champion. Nadal is the patron saint of lost causes, so he won't be counted out here by Federer. Once again, on that forehand side, perfection. It's the best I've seen him hit his forehand against Nadal consistently for a set and a half.
I'm with you there. The crowd don't know what to make of it, do they?
They really don't. It's been amazingly muted. Just hasn't been able to really get into the match Nadal. He's had the chances though, he's had the break points, but today it's been the Spaniard who's failed to convert them, and Federer has taken his chances superbly. What, if anything, can Nadal do differently? What does he need to do? just wide. But again, another great example of the variety that Federer has employed today.
And Nadal doesn't know where that forehand is going.
Only doesn't know where the forehand's going, but he's not quite sure what to expect from the backhand win as well. We've seen him get caught out with the one up the line. This time Federer takes it cross court. That's more like it from the Spaniard. That's the type of rally we expect to see from him.
Maybe the first time we've seen a rally like this. Because of the great job that Federer has done in pegging Nadal back behind the baseline. This time it's the Spaniard who took control of the point.
Well, he closes the gap to just the one game. And he has been fighting hard and trailing all the way through this encounter so far. Federer still out in front, 4-3, second set. Well, people here in Madrid boast that they've elevated the art of talking to a whole new level here. It's one of the features of the city, the cafes. And they were debating just how great a champion Rafael Nadal was yesterday after his come from behind victory against Novak Djokovic. One wonders what they'll be talking about this evening. Is it what went wrong for Nadal or what went right for Federer? Or has he got one final trick up his sleeve?
What a terrible bounce that was for Federer.
Second time, I think he's lost the opening point on his serve in the match, Federer. It's definitely the first time he's lost the first two. he produced an absolutely stunning return as well, Nadal. And you were fearing for Federer's chances there. Another immaculate serve from Federer.
And again, courageous play, looking to serve and volley, down 15-30.
Couple of uncharacteristic errors from Nadal just when he was threatening. Inexplicably, he throws in another one. And the title now well within Federer's grasp.
Yeah, the really poor shot was the love 30. Had Federer on the ropes. And it almost seemed that he doubted himself, wasn't sure what shot to hit.
The 33 match win streak is on the line as well. Although it'd have to go some to break one of the most incredible streaks in tennis. And that was by Helen Wills Moody, who won 158 straight matches and didn't lose a set in that streak. Vamos, he still believes. And the crowd have seen enough miracles from this man to know that he can still somehow produce another one.
And he's produced a few in his time.
And in recognition of that, was given the gold medal of Madrid, as was Nadal a couple of years ago. Well, it was a smart return from Federer, because the second serve earned the respect of the world number 2, because he was so far out of court. Oh, yes! A little bit of genius from Federer. It's been quite clinical, really, this performance so far.
That's just something special from Federer, and again, evidence that he's put in the hard work the last few weeks. He has moved great the whole week.
That one drifting wide. And Nadal's ambitions here may be slipping away in this game. Trying to keep some semblance of pressure on Federer by hanging on to his serve. Well, I thought that he was motioning for Lasgraf to come down and actually have a look at the mark, but no need, as you can see. So the moment of truth has arrived for Roger Federer. Will his nerve hold? He has the opportunity to serve for the title. Federer has lost his last 5 meetings to the world #1. He's trying to break that streak now as well. Tenth different country that these two have squared off against each other in. It's Nadal's home patch, but Federer perhaps here to spoil the party. Wow, what else can you say? I mean, he really has executed every single shot just incredibly well. But he still has to get over that finishing line. And Nadal will do everything within his power to make it as awkward as possible. He steals the point. Is he going to steal Federer's dreams once again?
What, did Federer stumble as he hit this volley or moved to this volley? No, it was just the wrong decision. And Nadal senses the moment.
Just listen to that crowd. The moment and the man proving to be a difficult combination for Federer to overcome. 2 break points for Nadal. the longest rally of the match, one of the most important points of the match.
They've still got one to go, Federer. A good time to serve and volley.
He can hardly believe it. They can hardly believe it. Another couple of break points come and go for the world number one. Nerves of steel. What courage. And a shot that once again reminds us just what makes Federer a champion. One of the greatest of all time. Match point.
Well, he saved 3 yesterday in the tiebreak against Djokovic. He saved 1 here.
Once again, Federer able to execute under extreme pressure. Second championship point. And he's done it, and in what fashion. His first title of the year. And what a moment for Federer, almost a sense of disbelief. It was as comfortable as it ended up being, but Nadal's winning streak, 33 match win streak on clay, finally comes to an end. A magnificent performance by Federer.
Saw the very best of the former world number one. As Federer said last year when he lost that mantle, one that he held for 4 years, if he was going to lose it, he wanted to lose it to someone who really did earn it, and of course that was Nadal, and that's certainly been the case today. It's been a stunning record for Rafa, only the 5th time he's lost on this surface since the start of 2005. Yes, he didn't play his best tennis, but a lot of that is due to how good Federer executed his game plan.
So Rafa is denied the opportunity to become the first man to win all 3 Masters clay court titles in the same year. It is his first defeat on this surface in 34, only his 5th in 151 matches on clay since 2005. And that little smile speaks volumes. Greg Rosetsky and Peter Fleming alongside me, an hour and 26 minutes. Not quite what everyone from a neutral perspective was hoping for, but some display by Federer nonetheless.
Federer was great today. I mean, he served exceptionally well. I mean, first serve percentage 63% there. First and second serve points won, very impressive, 69, especially second serve points, which was 68. And also net points won, 10 out of 18, and break points won. That's a stat he's really struggled against Rafael Nadal with, and he was 2 for 2 today, and that was the difference.
Well, Peter, you went for Federer. You've been proved right once again.
Well, blind squirrel, you know, it's we thought, come on, you had to think that Nadal was going to be jaded today, and as well as Federer played, I think that Nadal's fatigue contributed to this result. There's no question about that. And I think from a neutral perspective, it's a great result. It's a great result for tennis. Just to give Federer a little bit of hope, a little bit of a little spring in his step going into the French.
The other thing as well is he got over his nerves there. He had a little bit of a patchy period when he served for the match at 5-4, and he got a little nervous. Nadal had 2 break points, didn't take them, but he managed to come out on top, and mentally that'll do him a lot of good.
I just wonder, you mentioned the hope, Peter. I remember that film Clockwise, John Cleese, the character, famous quote, "It's not the despair, I can take the despair, it's the hope I can't stand." Suddenly, going to Roland Garros, he has got that hope again, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, I think the characters are slightly different from Roger Federer. I mean, Roger Federer is a completely hopeful character. You know, that's what he's about. He's about belief and positive spin on things, and he'll really enjoy this match today, I think.
Yeah. What did he do in particular, that just helped him along today, Greg?
Well, I thought he served very well today. The forehand was firing, and he played within himself today as well, which was so important. And he looked like he got the balance right when he came forward. So one of those matches where he was under control, didn't go for too much, and it also did help quite a bit that Nadal was tired today.
Yeah, but that's the point you made yesterday, and perhaps it's a really significant aspect of Federer's game at the moment, just reining himself in a little bit, and that caution paying dividends.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it was a bonus for him to know that he could go out there and that the longer the rallies went, the more it probably benefited him. Because usually that's not the case. Usually the longer the rally goes, the more Federer's in trouble. And so I'm sure he was more comfortable to rally and just put the ball back into play than he has been in the past, because often he pulls the trigger. He tries to go for winners on balls that are not there, impatient ones. We saw him do it on 2 forehands in that last game, and it was, oh no, don't go back to this again. But he pulled it around and came up with some great points when he needed them.
Of course, Rafa's run had to come to an end at some stage. How disappointed do you think he'll be by this defeat?
I don't think Rafa will be concerned in the least. He said coming into Madrid, I'm not sure whether I'm going to play this event. I don't like the altitude going to French. I'm not particularly playing very well, and if you don't play very well and you get to the finals, you have one of the best matches in the history against Djokovic, saving 3 match points. I think his preparation is perfect for the French Open. He'll just put it aside and say, okay, Roger, let's see what happens at the French Open. Yeah, it's quite unusual, though, to see the men's and the women's presentation at the same time, but they're making it a little bit different than most tournaments and adding a personal touch. And there we can see Karolina Wozniacki, who is in the finals of the women's, accepting her runner-up trophy.
Well, of course, it makes it that little bit more special that it's a mixed tournament. Adds to the problems in terms of the organisation, but I suppose it's good to bring it all to one giant climax.
It is great to have the men's and women's together, especially before the French Open coming up. So I like having the combination of the 2, men's and women's. And we're just going to probably hear right now from Danira Safina, who won the women's. Oh, actually, it's Rafael Nadal, my mistake. The 2 runner-ups they're doing.
Yeah, it's rare to see Rafa collecting his 2nd prize, of course. Didn't bother biting that one? I don't think so. Save the Nashes for the French and then Wimbledon, perhaps.
Don Ignacio Garralda, acompañado por don Manolo Santana, director del torneo, y don Karim Moniem, director de Tiffany España, van a entregar el torneo de vencedora en categoría femenina a Dinara Safina.
Well, Dinara has dressed down for the occasion, but she has had a great week. She's enjoying a fantastic year. She your tip for the French, by the way?
I think she has to be the favourite at the moment. I mean, she is world #1. She hasn't won a major yet, and this is her favourite surface. But Serena and Venus always seem to do something when it really matters, so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Acompañado por don Manolo Santana, director del torneo, y don Karim Moniem, van a entregar a Roger Federer el trofeo al vencedor de la primera edición del Mutua madrileña.
I think we've got the gist of that. in the winner's enclosure once again. But of course it's in 3 weeks' time that he really wants to be lifting the first prize. That would be the culmination of his career, wouldn't it?
Well, I think it would. It would put it out of question whether he is the best player to ever play the game, because if he put that French Open title there, then it would be very difficult to argue.
Well, hello everybody. No Spanish from my side, but some English. Thanks very much, first of all, from the Prince Felipe for being here, showing respect to some good tennis, I hope. And of course, I'm very happy to have won today. I think it's been a wonderful tournament. I'd like to congratulate Rafa as well for the incredible run he's had on clay so far, and also the ladies here today. I'd like to also thank the sponsors for making a nice event for us, the players. I had a wonderful week here. Also like to say thank you to Manolo for making us feel so welcome, and it's been an honor playing on your court, Manolo Santana Center Court. It's been really very nice for me. Thank you. Thanks to Alexis and Mucha Madrilena. Thanks to the spectators. You guys have been unbelievable. Sorry to spoil the party, but I'm sure I'll see you next year. Thank you very much.
He's got himself back in that enclosure again, Peter. That's got to be something.
No question about that. I think that had he lost this match, it would have been very, very difficult for him to have any hope of winning Roland Garros. Okay, now he's still clearly not the favorite. But I think that he could quite happily say, well, I've got a chance. If things go my way, I can win it. And that's all you can ask for, is a bit of hope.
Yeah, we've had an email from Nick Miller, who disagrees, Greg, with your comments about this loss not affecting Rafa's confidence. He says this week a number of the players have closed in on Rafa. Verdasco choked a bit but created genuine chances against him. Novak really should have won. And even Andy Murray in Monte Carlo in the semi-final a few weeks ago exposed a few cracks. So is the gap starting to be narrowed a little bit?
Well, I don't know if it's getting narrow, but the players are getting better. I mean, Verdasco took Nadal all the way to the 5th set at the Australian Open, and then he choked definitely up 2 breaks in that 2nd set against Nadal. But Nadal, you've got to remember, look at his streak. I mean, he started clay court season where he won Monte Carlo, Barcelona, Rome. He's going to get tired once in a while and lose one match. Now he's got a nice period of about 7-8 days before he starts up, and he'll be back to his best. Also, this is on altitude, we've got to remember. Altitude helps the players like Djokovic, helps the players like Federer, because it makes their serve that much quicker. And when they get to Roland Garros, the courts will be a little bit slower, he'll have a little bit more time and much more control over the ball. So yes, they're closing the gap, but they're still not in Rafa's league.
Rest assured, we have not seen Rafa's best tennis on clay yet this year. He will play better in Roland Garros than he has at any point so far this year, I bet.
Just looking ahead to the French and away from the obvious suspects, Greg, who else should we be keeping an eye on?
Well, it's pretty hard to go out of the obvious suspects, but I like Verdasco this week. I thought he was exceptional. Gonzalez, if he can play that sort of crazy tennis. And let's take a Frenchman with Tsonga, who could get some flair with the French crowd behind him.
Andy Murray's prospects, Peter?
I think they're good. I think he's got a great shot at least getting to the quarters, maybe the semis. And once you reach that point, anything can happen. You know, I think it's going to come. The 4 semifinals are going to come from the